Hello and welcome to the iFox with Juice podcast. I am your host, Juice, and I'm actually here on location in Las Vegas, Nevada. I got a last minute ticket last Saturday and have been here in Sin City the past couple of days. I met John Jones last night actually at the MGM. I'm feeling good about this. Anyway, here's my co host, Rina. Reen, how are you doing?
So sorry.
Why are you laughing?
Nothing.
Just laughing for no reason whatsoever.
No, man, I just like your intro there.
Oh, well, I mean, I actually am here, but it's weird. I'm not seeing a lot of posters for the event. I thought it'd be packed by now, but nothing seems kind of dead over here. I don't really know what's happening. Is there something I'm missing here?
Are you taking a picogram or something? Like, what's going on?
The fuck is a picogram?
Picogram, the multi-pass picogram. It's a multi-pass for everything. Get out of jail free card, picogram.
You know what? I think I gotta Google this. Give me a second. Oh shit. Okay, it looks like I made a grave error. I think I'm in the wrong city.
Yeah, picogram. Come on.
Hold on, wait. I think I'm in the wrong state.
Hashtag picogram. It's all over the place.
Oh shit, I've really been out of the loop on this one.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right. Well, luckily we have someone here that can probably fill me in. We have a special co-host tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got Ashley, the MMA nerd herself. Ash, is Reen fucking with me? What's going on here? What did I
My
miss?
dude, you wasted your money. Wrong state, wrong city. I don't know who you met last night, but
Well, John Jones really was here. Well, it
was
looks
he
like
though?
I should just he's omnipresent. He's everywhere all the time. Man, so I should just head back home to LA where it's really happening, I guess. Man, this is crazy. Okay, so enough of that nonsense. Yes, we have Ashley. We have the MMA Nerd as our first co-host. Very appreciative of her on. Yeah,
Happy to
thank
be
you.
here.
Yes, thank you for your time. So yes, we're gonna talk all things UFC 232, which basically means all things John Jones because he's a narcissist and he loves the attention, and we must give it to him. If not, he'll punish us. So, I don't even know how to go into this. I guess we'll just say, what were you guys doing when you heard the news? I'll start with Reen. Reen. Oh, actually, you may found out before me. So yeah, what were you doing? Because I think you were the one that informed me.
That was Christmas Eve, right? Because, man, it's all a blur to me still, but
No. It was Eve. It was Sunday. So it was the
Eve,
day
Eve.
before Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was hanging
John
out.
Jones can't bring us a gift that big.
Yeah, I was hanging out with my kid, and of course, I have my Brett Okamoto notifications on, so I saw that. I'm like, what? And sure enough, clicked on all his, his Twitter and started reading. I'm like, oh my God, really? And then I had to inform Allie, of course. She's like, what? Because we talked about possibly going to this fight last minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
We're just getting that whim, like, let's go.
Yeah, like, what's going on? And we do that sometimes, right? And then we got that message. We're like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? To LA? What? Over Jones? Like, what's going on here? So
Yeah,
I think I messaged you next, right? After that.
we were talking about something else, like kind of off and on, and you said just some weird, like what's up with UFC 232? It's in LA now, and I was doing something else. I was feeling, honestly, I think I was feeling kind of down on Sunday. I don't know what was happening. I skimmed over and like, whatever. And 5 minutes later, I look back, I'm like, wait, what the hell did she just say? And I just went on Twitter, and the first thing I see was the Okamoto tweet, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, even when I saw like what here. I wasn't even like a bit excited, a bit relieved, like, oh, I can maybe see this. It's only 30 minutes from me. I was just like, what on fucking God's green earth is this? How can this happen? And of course, I just like, John Jones, you bless us once again.
You actually went MIA for a little bit after that too. So
I did because I had to confirm it. I'm like, man, this is some other shit. This isn't like This isn't just a fight cancellation. This is something totally else.
Yeah.
Ashley, where were you? What were you doing when you found out?
I was laying on a table in a tattoo parlor. Just I was all sprawled out, getting a tattoo on my thigh, and scrolling through Twitter to try and be entertained, and did not let me down. It was, and none of them watched fights, so I tried to talk to people about it, but no one cared. And
they had no idea.
I just kind of sat there all sad.
Wow, that's insane. So, well,
John Jones.
I guess I should thank him because, like I said, I don't remember what was going on with me personally that day, but I was feeling, like I said, I was feeling a bit down. And once that happened with Rain, I just, once she sent me that text message and I looked into it, there was no way I was sleepy or down or anything. I was infuriated, actually, man. And then MMA Twitter was on fire for the next 24 hours. That's some of the most memorable shit I think I've ever shared and seen on there. That was awesome. But
you've been pretty on point all week.
Yeah.
John Jones brings out the best in MMA Twitter.
It was too quiet, right, guys? It was just way too quiet. We're like, okay, we're gonna have this fight, yay, and then next thing you know, bam.
Especially, you know what happens like the week, and then especially that there was no fight this weekend. It was like, okay, we're feeling kind of weird. There's nothing to do on Saturday. We usually watch fights. We already kind of had like that withdrawal, and then Sunday comes like, well, fight week is almost here, but there's really nothing to do, and it's the day before Christmas Eve. I say Christmas because I'm Mexican and we celebrate Christmas Eve, but then that happens, and you're like, well, we got a whole lot of shit to talk about now, and a lot of shit talking to do. So yeah, that was at the very least fun. Not fun for the people who bought tickets and whatnot, but yeah, at least Dana was. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet today. He tweeted that it's basically a sellout and it's much better than anybody could have anticipated. This tone deaf ass tweet. Did you guys see this?
Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah, I mean the price point, you can't beat that price point. Like everybody's gonna jump on it. I even thought about it. Remember, I told you I almost sold out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
would not have blamed you.
Right? I was mad at first. I was like, "Fuck this fight," and then I'm like, "Oh." I had BJ Penn home. I'm like, okay, I'm just nodding. Like, I really pictured that in my head. I'm like, 306, huh? Cage side? All right. I might have to come and visit Juice too while I'm at it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm 40 minutes away. And at no point was I like, this could be worth it. I was like, this is. And I say that, yet I'm going to buy the pay-per-view on Saturday. But I guess in my mind, it's like, I don't want to physically give my money to the tickets. I'd rather just get paid through my cable, pay it through my cable provider, so I don't feel like a total mark. But oh man, yeah,
I'm a total mark. I don't even care. I'm so excited.
It really is to me. This is, I don't know if it's my favorite fight of all time, but I think it's the best UFC fight of all time. I know some like MMA hipsters don't want to say that, but then again, I'm a guy who doesn't think that Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler 2 was all that big, so what do I know?
I'm going to have to leave this podcast right now because I just realized I hate you.
I've heard that a lot. I am
floored.
Here's the thing with that, just a quick thing. I'm a big Robbie Lawler fan, and I am a big Rory McDonald hater. So when that fight was happening, I never had any doubts of how that fight was going to go. Even as Robbie Lawler was getting fucked up, I was like, nah, he's going to pull this out because he's just so much tougher. And Rory's not that tough to me. And then, fair enough, at least my pick was right. But, yeah, I
would think that would help you like it more.
No, not really.
You got to be right.
No, I was just like, my favorite fight ever might be Condit and Lawler. Speaking of Condit, we're going to talk about him in a bit since he's on this card. But that might be my favorite fight. And I think that one was way better than Lawler-McDonald anyway, so.
I can't agree with that.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
That's
why I got you on, Ashley. We want some different voices on here, but yeah, that's just my little hipster take. But okay, so to get to the meat and bones of this John Jones issue, so yes, he tested. I don't even know if we can say positive anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on as far as all the technical details, but for lack of a more understood term, he tested positive for a metabolite of the same turinabol he took last year, apparently. And now it came out that he tested for it December 6th, and they try to expedite these results, and they've been talking about it behind the scenes for the past couple of weeks. But apparently he'd been showing signs since August. At least this is what Nowitzki said on the Joe Rogan podcast today. And this new term of pulsing, which I've heard from the little that I've seen about it, it looks like it's kind of a bullshit term that they're making up. So I have no idea what to make of this. It's all fishy to me, and I feel that that none of it's genuine, especially given Nowitzki's role. I mean, he's not. He even said himself today that he's not a drug expert, that his thing's in accounting because he was an IRS agent before. So I guess that's where his field of expertise is. So
I was screaming about that, by the way. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to know anything about calculus. Where's the scientist at?
Exactly.
like, where's Bill Nye at? Like, he could probably explain this better than Jeff, who is employed by the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. People forget, like, for the anti-doping stuff. Man, I remember I was the guy a few years ago screaming from the rooftops that, you know, so many people are on steroids. This is a serious issue. Someone's going to die one day, and someone's going to be on steroids. It's going to be a terrible look. We need to do something about it. And when they announced USADA, I'm like, this is good, kind of, because it was a few months after the debacle happened with Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather. Mayweather getting a TUE, therapeutic use exemption for an IV bag, which wasn't, you know, that's not allowed under USADA rules. So they showed preferential treatment there. It was a big story, but it seemed to die out after a few days. But I never forgot that, and that's kind of what I always had in my head. Like, what if someone, you know, at the time, what if Ronda Rousey gets a fishy test? What if Conor McGregor? What if John Jones? What if, you know, Cain Velasquez? Any of these big stars? What are they gonna do? Like, it's not in their best interest to be honest about it, I guess. And I guess now we're seeing what actually happens when the rubber meets the road. But the big thing with him when he started the whole thing with him, his investigations was Armstrong and all these people that he caught in other sports, was his thing, was to investigate. It wasn't that he was looking at test results and deciphering all this shit in the lab. He was literally going through their mail and their trash. He was going through their trash to find receipts, emails, whatever, to find guilt for Barry Bonds and Lance Armstrong and people like this. So once I found that out about him, I never really trusted him, because you could say he's dedicated to his job, but he's also violating people's Fourth Amendment rights, and that's not his job to do. That's the government's job to do, and I don't take that lightly.
Damn. Came in hot there.
Sorry.
Screw the snitch.
I have never been down with the snitch, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. It's so weird to me, though, man. Like, how could a math guy, finance accounting guy, go from that field into, like, being this guy going through people's trash cans to, like, catch these people, these bad guys, right? Like, I don't get that. And then now he's a point person for UFC, the liaison, I guess, between USADA and the UFC. And he's talking like he's an expert on it, on JRE. I'm actually more confused after listening to that. I needed a translator.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Ashley? What do you think of your thoughts on Nowitzki in general, I guess?
I'm not a fan. He just seems like a face to me. Because, it's like, he clearly has no idea what he's talking about. It's like, you could ask him or Dana, and you'd probably get the same roundabout answer. It just doesn't make any sense.
And Dana today was saying, go to Nowitzki. Yeah. He's going with all the answers. And we're kind of left with more questions. But I like what you said there, that he's a face. Like, that's kind of what I think about him too. Like, he has a name and he has a reputation. You know, the whole golden snitch thing. It's kind of weird. It's kind of funny, but like Brendan Shaw put that on him, because like, he's gonna dig into stuff. He's looking. His job is to find, kind of what Rain said, these bad guys, these cheaters, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, he wasn't even really a cop. He's a government agent with the IRS. I think he was at the FDA too. Like, he's drugs aren't his expertise. They just aren't. But he has a name, he has a reputation, he has a history. I mean, you get the guy who caught Lance Armstrong. I guess logically you could conclude, well, if he could catch Lance Armstrong, who's so much more famous and rich than these UFC fighters, he can catch whatever guy coming into the UFC. So yeah, I'm starting to think it's all almost like a publicity stunt as well. So I think we're kind of all on the same page there. Yeah. Okay. So, and well, any last thoughts? I don't want to. If you guys have something to add there, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh no, I agree with everything you said. I've pretty much lost faith in USADA quite a bit. Not completely, I guess, but they're too inconsistent, and he's a big part of that.
Yeah, I don't know what to add to that. Reen, your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right on the inconsistency part, and then now they're going to increase testing. Like, how is that going to work?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that towards the end of the show because it's something we can dive a little deeper on. But yeah, that is as a little teaser, we will say that he did announce today on the JRE that basically that the contract has been extended and they're going to up test for fighters. So we're going to give our thoughts on that a little bit further along in the show, but I wanted to get straight into the preview. We're gonna talk about a few fights on the card, 6 total. Nothing. We're not going top to bottom, just the big fights, at least the ones that I thought deserved the most attention. And unfortunately, that means we had to talk about very, 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 very past his prime, BJ Penn fighting Ryan Hall. This is, I believe, the opener on the FS1 prelims. BJ Penn is back. His last fight was Dennis Seaver last year. Did not look great in that. I think getting beat by Dennis Seaver at this point in your career, no matter how old or young you are, doesn't spell good things. So he's going to fight Ryan Hall, who hasn't fought in years, I think 2 or 3 years. But at the very least, he's not really a devastating striker. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. BJ is obviously a very well-known, very accomplished black belt. So maybe this just goes to the ground and it's a fun grappling match. I'll let Reen start first. What's your pick? What's your thoughts on the fight?
Man, do you have to talk bad about BJ Penn?
Well,
right? I'm like, oh.
Okay. I don't hate.
Man. He dropped Seaver in his last fight, didn't he? He dropped Seaver. He still has power.
I don't think I remember that fight going that way.
Oh, come on. He dropped him with an uppercut.
He may have stung him. Man, it's been a while, and honestly, I didn't preview.
I mean, in my opinion, he almost finished him. It was right there.
It is tough for me to watch him fight. I mean, yeah, he definitely has better boxing than Hall, so it could go either way. Hall, for a grappler, he can definitely kick. He did that in his last fight. He kept his opponent at bay and outpointed him, and that was against Maynard. The grappling advantage could either go to Hall too, especially in the leg lock department, because I don't know how often BJ Penn's been training with leg locks lately. You know, he got his black belt, in 3 years, and that was many years ago. So
maybe 20 years ago now, and I may not be exaggerating about that.
Yeah, and it's definitely evolved. So, I mean, it could go either way. It could be an interesting fight or a really bad one. But I think I have to choose Hall by decision on this one.
Do you think it'll be a grappling type matchup or a little mix of stand-up and grappling? You think BJ has a chance either if it does go on the ground or if he just has some success on the feet? Or
I think he'll have some success on the feet, but yeah, I think he's going to be outpointed by Hall because Hall's not going to be as afraid to get taken down. You know, he'll probably try to pull guard against him.
That'd be interesting.
Right? So like I said, it'll be either an interesting fight or a really bad one because we saw him against Maynard. We saw that one.
Okay. All right. So Hall by decision. Ashley, so what are your thoughts? And do you think, I guess, since Reen's going with decision, do you think that there can be a finish in this fight either by Hall or Penn?
And there could be. I agree with Rina about it could either be interesting or just really bad. I lean towards bad just because of Penn's last fight and Hall's. I'm not a huge fan of Hall, I should say. Like, I borderline hate him for no good reason other than I don't like his face. But I just, yeah, so it's hard for me to even talk about it without being completely biased. But I do think if BJ is confident in himself, that he could do way better in the stand-up. But with his last fight, he was so tentative. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that was about, if that's just the way he's going to fight now. But I'd like to think if maybe he's a little more confident going against a guy who's so, yeah, he'll pull guard whenever. He's so focused on his ground game. So that's like a hope. I mean, I'm going to pick BJ Penn because I never pick against him, but the money's on Hall because he's the younger guy, and he has always not performed, but he's always won, I guess. But
he knows how to win in unconventional.
He does. It's weird. He's so awkward.
Yes.
So it's like, it's hard. He reminds me of what's his face, the beautiful guy, Elias Theodoro.
Oh God,
like a really jiu-jitsu-y Elias, who just, you're like, how does he always win? Like, he's so weird and fights so awkward, but they always get the W. I don't know. So yeah, Hall's the smart choice, but I'm picking Penn by nasty finish because I have big dreams.
Actually going with all heart, man. I respect it. Okay, well, I guess I'll just get straight to it. I'm picking BJ Penn, and I hope he comes out in that bunny stance like he did against Frankie Edgar. I hope he just knocks Hall's fucking head off. That stance just equates total power, so I think he'll get the quick 10-second knockout, uppercut.
I like it.
You know what? I haven't actually put much thought into this fight, but I'm actually gonna pick BJ here. I really am, and I think, yeah, Hall's much younger. Yes, this jiu-jitsu is on a different level as far as the modernity of it, of how he's kept up with these, Gary Tonin, Gordon Ryan, Danaher, Death Squad guys, he's all into that. So yeah, he may even have the advantage on the floor, but even now, I don't think he'll have the advantage on the feet. I think BJ can still box and box well enough to outpoint him. And I haven't seen Hall's chin tested that much, so I don't even think it'd be out of the realm of possibility that maybe a knockout's asking for much. Who knows? Maybe he's just going to be dogged in the takedowns and not give him that much space to land big blows. But I think his jab, his straight right, the fundamentals can get the job done, at least to win a few rounds. So I'm actually going to go with BJ by decision. I'll be a little bit more practical than Ashley was. So.
Hey, girl can dream.
As you said, there's nothing wrong with dreaming. We all need to dream sometimes. Okay, so if you'll excuse me, we're going to get to the next fight, Kat Zingano versus Megan Anderson. I'm going to go full Ashley here. I'm going to go Kat Zingano. And I actually love Megan Anderson. I met her at Invicta FC 17. I think that was when Tanya Evinger fought Colleen Schneider. I was there covering it as press, and I actually took a picture with her. She's a cool girl, but Kat Zingano may be my favorite women's fighter ever. She hasn't been looking great. Obviously, she's been more active this year than she has in previous years, but I always just thought this was a bad style matchup since the minute they announced it. Megan obviously had issues with Holly Holm in June, who's basically a novice grappler. Holly Holm outworked her and just made her look silly on the ground. And although Megan I believe she's smart and capable and willing to learn, she can probably be to the point where she can beat Holly Holm and stuff her takedowns and do what she has to do if they were to rematch right now. But Kat Zingano is a different level of grappler, and although she makes some very questionable decisions, sans running knee 14 seconds into the fight with Ronda Rousey, that's just smart game planning right there. But aside from that, she does make questionable decisions, but I don't think Megan has the knowledge, the wherewithal, the confidence to deal with that at this point in her career. So I think it's going to be Kat by decision, and Megan's going to go 0-2 in her first two UFC fights. Ashley, I'll start with you this time. What do you think?
I agree. Megan, it sucks because she is such a good prospect for a division that has no one, but she just got majorly exposed by Holly. And yeah, I mean, Holly's a boxer who is playing wrestler against a ginormous woman who couldn't use those long legs to get up. It was sad. And if the boxer could keep her down with how good Kat is on the ground, I just don't see how she couldn't or wouldn't dominate her, even with a few months of working on it. But in Zagana, she does need to be careful because, well, like Holly ate that huge knee from Anderson, and I don't know if Kat has a chin like Holly does. But so she needs to be careful going in and finding the right openings. But I think with her experience that I just see her kind of walking through her. I don't think it'll be an exciting fight. It'll probably be a lot of just wrestling and keeping her down and working her. Hopefully some good ground and pound. But I do think Kat wins unanimous decision.
Yeah, I mostly agree with that. You made a good point with the I'd forgotten about that knee that Megan landed. I was scared for a second there too. But the thing that you said about the height, I know it seems kind of illogical that the big fighter, the big girl in this instance, would have trouble with the shorter fighter. But I mean, I've seen it time and time again where short wrestlers do good against the lanky, taller fighters. So I actually think that's another reason of why the matchup is bad, is that the size discrepancy is actually going to work to Kat's advantage. So
easy double legs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Rina, how about you?
Same. I hope we get to see a healthy, strong Kat take down this big old beast of a woman. I mean, you can throw out the reach advantage with this one, the height advantage. I mean, she's going to get out wrestled again by bantamweight, right? They're fighting at 145, so there isn't much to cut for Zingano. So, man, I'm hoping like a ground and pound TKO, like that ferocious Kat is back and she just beats the crap out of Megan.
The one that beat the shit out of Nunes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. I miss her too, but I don't have good feelings about her coming back, especially at her age. And
I got faith in her, especially Megan, because, man, she really hasn't impressed me. And I don't think she can, like, really change it up in 6 months. I mean, Holly really did expose her lack of ground game. I mean, she's a freshly new blue belt, Holly Holm is, and I think Megan's like a purple belt. So, and she was the bigger woman. So, I mean, hopefully, yeah, like I said, healthy Kat just beats the crap out of her. That's what I'm hoping for, and she just sends her packing. Because I mean, she called out Cyborg and wanted.
I know.
That and
Cyborg bias here.
I like it.
Yeah, so
she blocked me, so I'm all with this Megan hate. Screw Megan.
Yeah, Megan does that a lot, man. She can't take it, so that's why I'm like, I think mentally she's weak too. I don't think she's ready for the Holly Holmes or Kat Zingano's. No way.
Agreed.
She's gonna get worked by bantamweight, and I'm gonna laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Megan. You can block me all you want. I don't care.
Oh man. I love this. Yeah, as I said, I am a Megan fan, but you know what I noticed in that Holly Holm fight too was that, yeah, obviously Holly Holm's not that great a wrestler and she was outworked by her, but also, I mean, the first Megan Anderson fight I ever saw was her debut in Invicta with Cindy Dandois, and Dandois, I mean, she just did whatever she wanted to her. So yeah, it doesn't seem like she's progressed much from there. So that was a few years between Dandois and Holm, and it looked virtually identical. And 5-6 months in between these fights, and she's gonna fight a top level wrestler. I don't know how it works out for her. So okay, so we're all in agreement there. Kat Zingano. Reen says TKO. Ashley and I were going with decision, but we all got Alpha Cat there. So moving on, the main card is gonna be opened up by Chad Mendes versus Alex Volkanovski. Man, this is a fight that I think, I don't know, it can be fight of the night or it can be possibly one of the worst fights this year, and I really don't know how it's gonna go. And it's hard to pick too. I'm gonna let Ashley start on this one while I gather my thoughts, because I guess I didn't do enough homework on this one. Ashley, what's your thought on this fight?
Well, this was one. This was actually the last one I made my picks on because I was kept going back and forth with it. But then the more I really thought about it, it's like if you describe Chad Mendes, he's a fast, powerful wrestler. And if you described Volkanovski, you would describe him the same exact way. But if you really look at them both, the one that's more powerful, the one that's faster, the one that's a better wrestler is Chad Mendes. So when I really think about it, I kind of think, even though they're virtually identical, I kind of think that Chad, if it's the same Chad that we saw in Boise last summer, who just looked right back to Money Mendes status, I think he might wipe the floor with this kid. Just because I don't see what Alexander could offer him to give any sort of edge. So I got Chad winning. Either probably a decision, but I could see him getting a finish too. TKO.
All right, fair enough. I get that. Reen, your boy, Chad Mendes, Sacramento boy.
I know.
What you got in this one?
Yeah, I was going, with the same direction, like back and forth. I wasn't sure with this one because they pretty much are similar. They're identical. I'm still not sure. I had it blank actually because I was studying tape and just reading, and just because he's from Sacramento, I might have to just go with Mendes. I mean, he looked great. His last fight, he had a 2-year layoff. He didn't even fight that anti-doping issue, He's still explosive. He still has power, obviously. The only thing I wonder is how is his cardio, because he hasn't been in the cage that long. Yeah. So with going with someone like Alexander, I just wonder how his gas tank will fare. There's lots of questions with this fight, but I might have to go with just a more experienced fighter. I'll go with Mendes by decision.
Yeah, coin flip pick. I get it. It is a tough one. It's probably the one that I've spent most time on right here too.
Yeah, it's flying under the radar. I think this is probably going to be one of those exciting fights, or a bad one, like Ashley said. So
yeah, it's hard to know. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go with Volkanovski. I'm gonna defer here. I'm gonna go with Volkanovski. You girls made really good points about just where he's been, how good he looked in his last fight, and everything. But Volkanovski, I've been impressed with ever since he came into the organization, basically. And I always thought he looked like a young Mendes, and that's kind of why I'm gonna pick him. Mendes isn't old by any stretch of the imagination, but that finish of Miles Jury, it came pretty quick. And yes, obviously it was impressive, but it didn't tell us much of where he's at, aside from that he still has power. I haven't seen Volkanovski's chin tested too much. I don't know how he'll react, so I'm kind of taking a leap of faith here that he doesn't get cracked, or if he does, that he can tough it out. But I think he's on the rise, and I'm not sure where Mendes is at right now. So him being the younger, more in his prime, Chad Mendes, I'm gonna go with the Australian. I'm gonna go with Volkanovski. I think he takes a hard, maybe split, maybe controversial decision, but I think he can do it. And I just hope it's halfway, somewhat entertaining, because that's the one thing I'm stuck on. I really don't know if it's going to be entertaining at all, but it matters in the rankings, and especially at featherweight right now. Holloway needs some contenders, so whether it's Mendes or Volkanovski, it'll be good for the division. So moving on, I'm going to mark out again here. My boy, my favorite fighter of all time, Carlos Condit. He's fighting Michael Chiesa, who's moving up to welterweight. Chiesa, actually, I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, Condit obviously hasn't looked great. Hasn't won a fight in 4 years, if I remember correctly. Although a lot of people thought he beat Lawler, and even me being the world's biggest Condit fan, I did not think he beat Lawler, or whoever that may surprise. But
that surprises me.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. No, I did not think he beat Lawler, but that's another thing for another day. But I like this fight. This isn't Cowboy Oliveira type, a guy who hits real hard, who can hurt Condit and finish him. Chiesa could obviously finish him. His chokes are still incredible, and things like the Damian Maia fight still ring in my head of how traumatizing that was when I saw it, of how down I was after he got choked out in 2 minutes. But there's levels to this. Who's laughing?
Me.
God damn
it. Sorry.
Yeah. Just to go off on you for a second, it's not fair with you. Cyborg lost once in her career, and you probably didn't witness it. Conda's been losing for 4 fucking years straight. This isn't fair.
That's why I was going to be kind and just not really say too much about your favorite fighter.
It's okay. I'm going to say enough about your favorite fighter in a minute. Don't worry.
Man. At least I have Ashley on my side on this one.
I know. This isn't a fair fight, but anyway. back to Condit. Yeah, so okay, so I guess it's only right I go first in this one since this is my boy. But yeah, I'm gonna mark out just full mark pick right here. I'm going Condit. There's good reasons to go for him, but I guess I'm just gonna go with the obvious, the striking advantage. Carlos, sometimes he's a slow starter. Sometimes it takes him a while to get into a groove. Sometimes he kind of throws these random strikes that don't really hit anything. That he's got a weird rhythm, let's say. But Chiesa can pressure, but aside from that, I don't know what else. I don't know what else he can do. He doesn't have great counters. He doesn't have great footwork. He doesn't have big power, and Condit's got a hell of a chin on him. So I know the grappling advantage is going to go towards him, and that's a big worry. But he doesn't have the greatest wrestling, and I'm just going to hope and pray that Condit does not get taken down and outstrikes him and hopefully knocks him out with the Dong Hyun Kim-like flying knee. That was a lifetime ago now. But I hope he gets a TKO, second round TKO, going all the way with my boy Condit. Rina?
Dreams. We all got them. Oh, man. I'm just going to say that I think that Chiesa will take whatever Condit will dish out and ultimately take him down. And I'm going by Chiesa by sub here. And I'm just going to keep it at that.
Why so fast, Rina? You sound really confident about it. God damn it.
Man, because I think Lawler really changed his life. I mean, he's looked rough ever since, you know. So
he also did change Lawler's life because he hasn't looked great since then too. So.
Hey man, we're not talking about Lawler right now. This is not Robbie conversation right now.
I brought it up in the beginning of the show, so if it's to divert attention from Condit, I'll fucking do it.
That's messed up, man. But yeah, I mean, he's had a tough outing, like Damian Maia, Neil Magny, Alex Oliveira. Those were tough, but yeah, Chiesa, he lost by Lee in that weird decision. Oh, I forgot what it was. It wasn't a decision,
but that weird choke.
Yeah, and they called it, but I mean,
like too early.
Mm-hmm.
But also, was it too early?
Yeah,
it was a weird one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was being worked by Kevin Lee. He got pieced up by Pettis in his last outing with him too. But I just don't trust Condit. I don't know where he's at, so I have to go with Chiesa by sub.
Chiesa was also pieced up by Conor McGregor's dolly in that bus. So. He can't even beat a fucking dolly.
Yeah, I thought about that too. All the emotional crap that he's going through with this lawsuit and everything. But man, he seems to be happy. He's like dancing in that video after everything that he went through.
He's gonna get paid. Don't you dare worry about him. He'll be fine.
That's true. Even though he has to pay California taxes, he's still getting paid.
Okay. So while I seize, I'll pass it off to Ashley. Ashley, I know he's from your state.
He is. He's from my city.
Oh,
yeah.
Close to home.
We have like mutual friends, but it's hard because Condit is also one of my all-time favorite guys. I did have him beating Robbie Lawler, so obviously I'm a bigger fan than you. But I just want you to see how serious this is. And, you know, I do think he has a striking advantage because Chiesa is so awkward and weird. But I'm also really curious. Chiesa is a huge, huge man. And him cutting to 155 was so stupid. So I'm really curious how he's going to handle welterweight. I think that I would just imagine he's going to be a lot better than his last couple outings we've seen. And maybe he'll have more power at welterweight without draining himself. And yeah, with Condit, I was thinking that he had like the huge striking advantage, but I was looking at the stats and Condit's significant strike accuracy is 39.4%, whereas Chiesa's is 37.9%. So they're really barely off from each other. But then she clearly has a big advantage on the ground. So I'm going with the hometown dude, but it does make me sad. But I just think, yeah, with their strengths, Chiesa closes the gap a little bit more than Carlos does, especially how he's looked his last 4 fights, which is 3 fights, because the Lawler one doesn't count. But yeah, I can't go with him and feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, that's a good point with the weight cut stuff. I'm a big advocate of fighters, honestly, most fighters going up in weight. I don't think this is going to be a bad move for Chiesa at all, although I hope and think he'll lose. I don't think the weight cut will have any effect on it. And yeah, you're right. It should and could help him. So yeah, that's definitely something to watch out for. It seems like Condit's stamina is still there. It's just unfortunate that with the way his fights have been going, he's been getting finished lately, so it hasn't really been a factor. So I'm hoping and praying as you girls know. So all right, let's get to the nitty gritty co-main event. Christine Cyborg Justino versus Amanda Lioness Nunes, and shout out to the Twitter followers of the podcast. You guys are in agreement with me that it is pronounced Nunes. It's not Nunes or Nunez. Thank you for that. Anyway, so Cyborg Nunes, biggest women's MMA fight of all time. I don't think there's any hyperbole there. I think it's hard. I don't see any agreement of anything otherwise. Nunes going up to 145 to fight easily. I mean, without a doubt, the best female featherweight ever and possibly the greatest female fighter ever. I think it's only right I pass this off to Reen. I'm sure she has quite a bit to say about this, so I'm going to save my pick for last. But Reen, go ahead. Talk about your girl.
It's obvious. There isn't really much to talk about. I mean, Chris is going to destroy her.
Oh, my God. Okay, we can move on to Ashley. Go ahead. I'm kidding. No, go ahead, Reen. Go ahead.
Seriously, I told you, I saw that nasal strip when she was signing posters. I mean, I really thought it was going to be competitive until I saw that. I'm like, okay, I wonder how her cardio is going to be if she's nasally again.
You know what? I've yet to see that. You did mention that to me earlier throughout the week, but I don't know. Maybe I've been looking at the wrong videos. Maybe I haven't seen enough, but I've seen all the embeddeds and the countdowns, and I didn't see it. Maybe it was just that day. Maybe she was just having a weird reaction or something. Who knows? But I mean, it's definitely something to consider. I don't think you're wrong in putting that into consideration. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, Amanda's strong. We get it. We saw her piece up Ronda, but that was Ronda. Somebody like Bullet with the technical ability, she didn't really do that great. And now we know, Chris can be technical. She's not that brawler anymore. Under Jason Perillo, she's smarter and scarier now. I think she's gonna get pieced up, and we might see a ground and pound from her, or she might take it to the ground and prove a point that she's probably the better grappler. I don't see Amanda taking this one at all. There's no way.
So on the feet or on the ground, you think she'll dominate? You don't think
either
she'll
way?
have much resistance?
Chris is strong with her wrestling.
She is.
So, and Amanda's going up in weight. Yeah, she used to fight at 145. We get it, but her cardio, I'm still suspect about it. Chris, she's constantly training. There is no issues, right? I think she showed that with Holly's fight, that she can take it to the distance, right? She can do that. If she wanted to finish it, I'm sure she could have. But I think she wanted to show everybody that she's changed.
Well, Holly Holm did put up a fight. Yeah, you're right. Cyborg does have great conditioning. She's always done a lot of road work. I know she runs a couple miles basically every day. And I saw some of her videos this week so that she always trains for 6 rounds for a 6-round fight. So she definitely doesn't fuck around when it comes to the cardio. But I think part of the reason I don't think she could have knocked out Holly. This is just my opinion. I think Holly just put up a fight. She probably only won 1 round, but for whatever that's worth, I do think that Holly was her biggest test. And it was the biggest name and the biggest test for a reason. But yeah, she did very well in that fight. All right, so official pick TKO for Cyborg.
Yeah, I think she's gonna put on a show. I mean, it's a real treat to see her fight, so I think she'll do it for her fans and probably finish it in the fourth round. Because who knows when we get to see her fight again. I mean, it took 9 months to her, finally make this fight. Yeah, I think she's gonna put on a show and finish her off in the fourth round.
So you think she'll elongate it? That's saying something.
Yeah, because man, she's done it with Tanya too. I know, yeah, granted it was Tanya Evinger, but again, she controls that cage, man. She's so ferocious when she wants to be, and she can be technical and showcase her skills when she wants to. So I think she's going to do the same thing. Just showcase her skills and just show that she is the greatest of all time.
Fair enough. I would say my thoughts in a bit. I'll let Ashley go here, but I definitely see your point. Ashley, what's your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts. I think Cyborg is hands down the best female fighter we've seen, but I think Nunes is really underrated. And as much as I love Cyborg, I think it's weird that her resume isn't held against her a little bit more, because it should be. Really, Holly was her first test, and she went 5 rounds. She got bloodied, and I don't think she could have finished Holly. She hit Holly hard, and she didn't drop her. She stunned her a few times, but we've seen Holly. I thought that Megan's knee kind of stunned Holly more than anything Cyborg got her with. And I thought that Holly also kind of exposed the fact that I was shocked that Holly was able to control her in the clinch. That was weird to me almost, because again, maybe Holly's my favorite. Maybe I just need to give her more credit with these big fighters, but I don't know. I thought that was a little weird with Cyborg, and I think that's something that Nunes could really use to her advantage. If she got her clinched up, works her body and whatever. The size difference between these two is not as major. Obviously Chris is gonna weigh more after rehydrating, but I don't think it's as drastic as other ones we've seen. And Nunes actually has a very slight arm and leg reach advantage over Cyborg. So I think it'll be interesting too to see how Chris reacts to somebody who can actually hurt you. Because I love Holly, but unless she gets you with a head kick, she's rarely hurting anybody majorly with her punches. To where Nunes does. And yeah, Holly did better against Cyborg than she did Miesha Tate. And I know MMA math doesn't work, but it's just seeing what Nunes has done to girls, what she did to Miesha's face, what she did to Raquel Pennington. It took a few rounds, but it's taken Cyborg a few rounds against lesser competition than Raquel. And so I think it's closer than even I initially gave it credit for, because you hear Cyborg versus anyone, you're immediately like, oh, Cyborg's going to kill her. But I really like Amanda's chances, and I think they're better. And I think she's getting irritated because she was respectful with her call-outs and made a point to be respectful. But Cyborg does that thing where she always has to be a victim somehow. And one of these days that's going to backfire against her with a woman who can stand with her. And that could be Nunes. If the fight goes longer than 3 rounds, though, I don't see how Amanda would win, because we know Cyborg can go 5 at a good pace. We don't know if Nunes can. And so if it goes later, it's Cyborg all the way. But I could see Nunes getting an earlier finish. And because I like to be annoying, I'm actually picking Nunes to catch her early on. And maybe even with a takedown. That's kind of what I see. I think she could, if she got on top, because she is a brown belt in judo, she's a black belt. I think if she got on top of Cyborg with her ground and pound, we could get a huge upset. And I kind of just want that, because who doesn't like a big upset? So I'm putting it out there, even though it's Cyborg's probably going to win. But I'm going for Nunes, because fuck it. It's the last card of the year.
Big respect. Big respect. Wow, that's definitely ballsy. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna be fair here. I promise. I thought a lot about this fight. I've been thinking about it for a few months actually, since they announced it. Honestly, basically since the beginning of the year, since it was even a thought in people's minds. Ashley made some good points with her jiu-jitsu, and I think especially with the weight cut stuff. Nunes is a big girl. I don't know how much she cuts to get to 135, but I know it's a lot. I'm sure Cyborg cuts a lot more to get to 145, but I mean that's nothing new. That's been her weight class. She got to 140, nearly died doing it, but I mean that was nonsensical to begin with, and that shouldn't have happened. But regardless, Nunes is a big girl, and as you said, Ashley too. She has I wasn't aware of the reach advantage, but I'm not surprised because Nunes is a very lanky girl. She had like that Kevin Lee, Anderson Silva thing where, well, no, I'm sorry, not Anderson. You could tell she's like kind of like Weidman too. Weidman has that thing. He's just got some long ass arms, and it's very deceptive of how good his reach is. Here's the big thing with Nunes with me. I think she's got a shot too. And the two main things of what I'm putting into her chances are her leg kicks is one. Her leg kicks are fantastic. In fact, I may challenge you to name better leg kicks in not just in the division, but in all of women's fighting. I mean, I guess Joanna's got some good ones that she like bruises girls up with, but it's nothing where she like really hurts girls. I mean, Nunes stopped Shayna Baszler with leg kicks, and I think that's the first and only time I've ever seen it, at least in MMA. I'm sure it's happened in Muay Thai and stuff, but that's the only MMA fight that I've seen finished with leg kicks by a woman. You know, her finishes of Sarah McMahon and Miesha Tate, obviously, her ability to transition from striking to grappling when she has someone hurt is astonishing. Maybe one of the best in all of MMA in general. Her leg kicks, though, if she can land those early, she get that low calf kick like she did to Pennington. I know Cyborg's tough, and I'm sure she'll make her pay for some of those leg kicks. But if she doesn't early and she doesn't disincentivize her to just put that in her head, like you're gonna get hurt if you do this. If she eats a few of those, she's gonna be hobbled. She's gonna hurt her. I don't know how many it's gonna take, but I don't think it'll take much. I think her power is gonna translate well. I don't want to say better because her power is already outstanding at 135, and Cyborg does have a chin on her, but I think she can hurt Cyborg with her kicks, her low kicks, and her punches. So that's a big thing that I have with Nunes. Her leg kicks are not to be fucked with. She has a real big advantage there. And the other thing of why I can't count Nunes out is I'm having a hard time remembering when she's ever choked. You know, you hear this a lot with fighters. Oh, they're good, but they choke in the big fights. Nunes has losses on her record, but I've never seen her fail in a big fight. Whenever the big fight comes, she doesn't just perform; she performs excellently. Miesha Tate, everyone thought she was going to lose that fight, finishes her in the first round. Ronda Rousey, I know, wasn't a favorite for ignorant reasons against her, but she pummeled her. Pennington wasn't a favorite or anything. She was a big underdog, actually, but the way she beat her up was hard to watch, honestly. And then with Shevchenko, I know that here's the criticism with her with both Shevchenko fights. Shevchenko is excellent. Obviously, we've seen, what just happened with Joanna. We've seen how good she is. If anyone had doubts, that showed how good she really, really is. But Shevchenko is a bad style matchup for her. Actually, for all the opposite reasons that Cyborg's not, because she's kind of slow. She takes her time. She picks her shots. Cyborg definitely picks her shots, but she's aggressive, and I think that can sometimes play in Amanda's hands just because of her power. But I do think she beat her in the second fight. I do think that Nunes beat Shevchenko in the second fight, so I don't think there's any controversy with her. It's just a tough style matchup. So her ability to rise to the occasion and her leg kicks are something that people really need to watch out for, and that's the reason why I think it'll be a close fight. But I can't ignore Cyborg's ability, and just honestly her greatness. I'm going to go with Cyborg. I think it's going to be tough. I think she'll lose a few rounds. I think she may even get hurt, taken down. She's going to have some problems, I think. But I think she'll win the decision, mostly because of her pressure. Nunes has had some issues when people pressure, as Shevchenko, like in the third round. And then although I think her cardio's gotten better, the Shevchenko and the Pennington fight aren't much to go off of because they didn't really put up a big fight. When you have a girl like Cyborg swinging at you, ups your stress hormones. It really, mentally wears you out. So I think we might see her gas in the fourth or fifth rounds. So I'm gonna go with Cyborg by decision, but I'm not counting out Nunes. If she wins, well, I guess I can just celebrate with Ashley a little bit that we'll celebrate the upset, but I am not counting her out. I just think the slight edge has to go with Cyborg in this one, and I'm gonna have to go with her.
Just a slight not wrong. Man, no faith.
I had to say my thoughts.
She's been training up here with CSA Gym with Kieran Fitzgerald. She's been working with Nathan Carnage Corbett. She travels to Thailand all the time. I don't think we've seen everything from her.
She's getting better.
But I don't think we've seen everything though, because she finishes people's, girls so fast. But we might see some swings from her, and we might see some elbow cracks too. So it's gonna be a tough fight. I'm actually excited about this because of all the training videos I've seen lately.
Yeah, she's going at it.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming up here. I mean, Amanda's still American top team. Has she really evolved? I'm not sure.
And actually, too, I know you mentioned Don Madge a few months ago to me, Rain, and I hadn't seen his fights, and I caught his UFC debut. Man, that guy's excellent. And I could tell he knows his shit, and he looks like he'd be a good coach, especially for someone like Cyborg, who, as I've told you before, and I'll say here, Cyborg is a good pupil. Regardless of what you may think of her, she learns well. I know Perillo has his people think of him as a good coach, and he is, but I know he's kind of not someone that everyone gets along with. So she gets along with Perillo. It shows me too that she's willing to learn, and she can put up with some shit.
Yeah, I mean, she's a fully different person when she gets in that cage. So I can't wait. I just can't wait for it. I'm just watching her again I get emotional.
There's never a bad Cyborg fight either.
There is.
It's always entertaining.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Man, that's the co-main. We're about to get into the main event, but yeah, I'm definitely psyched for this one.
That was the main event.
Hey, we don't know if it's happening.
Yeah.
We have a long time.
God damn it. If something happens, just know that I know there's other journalists and bigger people than us out there, but anyone that hears this is going to shit on us so bad.
That's what I'm saying on your podcast.
Shit on us about what? What are you talking about?
Oh my god. Okay, so let's dive right in. Okay, so
sorry,
John.
I'm like laughing already. It just seems like a joke.
It's scheduled anyway, so we got to talk about this. Jonathan Dwight Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson, 5-round main event for the light heavyweight title that DC once again never lost. DC is undefeated still in my mind, but whatever. Going aside from DC. John Jones versus Gustafsson, a rematch of one of the greatest fights in MMA history, and to me, the all-time best UFC fight ever. Close fight, split decision the first time around. Jones edged it out. I think the consensus is he won rounds 2, 4, and 5. But Gustafsson was the first man, and I think to this day, the only man to take him down in the first round of that fight. Statistically outstruck him in that fight, too. I mean, I don't know anyone that's listening to this. I don't know how anyone hasn't watched this. So I know everyone's on board and they know what we're talking about here. But a lot of bad blood in this one, obviously. I mean, the first fight was really nothing as far as build up and the press leading up to that. Like people were mocking it. Still to this day mock it of what the marketing was for that one. It was greatness within reach. It was like the only thing they can sell Gustafsson on is the fact that he's tall and that he has a similar reach. And then turns out that is the biggest that played a giant role of how he almost won. And I think it's still a role. I know John says that he didn't train for that fight and he wasn't focused, but I think Gustafsson was also on that night. I think even if John was prepared, I think Gustafsson still would have given him problems. Jones' habits can't be overlooked regarding the first fight as far as non-training. I believe him. It seems like everyone around him says the same. But there's also these issues with him now. Everything about his career is being brought into question because of these tests. We can only speculate. All we know is that he's tested positive 3 times for weird reasons, according to the official story. So we don't know for a fact that he's been juicing his whole career. but many people believe that. Frankly, I'm one of them. But okay, to talk technically about this fight, what I'm seeing most is that people that give Gus a chance is they're saying his footwork. The footwork's the big one. That Gustafson's one of the few people who's quick and agile and can move with John. And I don't know if I buy into that. Gustafson runs. He literally runs away from his opponents. I don't know if there's. I mean, sometimes it's the right thing to do, but he does it way too often. That's not sound technique. It may be effective, but that will come back to haunt you one day. So I don't know about the footwork angle. People talk about his hands. He had better boxing than Jones in the first fight. He will continue to have better boxing because that's his background. That's what he came up in, and that's just where his edge lies. That's always going to be the case. A big thing in this fight too is layoffs for both men. John technically beat DC last year to win back his title, and then had the belt taken away for testing positive for Turinabol. And that's been it's been a 17-month layoff for John. But Gus actually has a longer layoff. He fought in May of last year, so he has over a year and a half layoff. Man, this is tough.
Just spit it out.
Sorry. Yeah, I know the suspense. I'm gonna go with Jones, and I hate saying that because I want to see him lose. And should he lose, I will celebrate crazier, and I'll be even louder than when Anderson Silva lost. I lost my mind during that fight. I will lose my mind even more if he actually loses this one. And I'm not counting on just Gustafson, but all the factors are on Jones' side. He's a sociopath, so these things, these accusations, these tests, none of it's getting to him. He has a game face on, and it's genuine. So it doesn't seem like there's a lot of outside distractions. I think they match up well. I think they're always going to give each other problems. I don't know. Gustafson's defense is also not the greatest, and that's probably the thing that stuck out most when I saw their fights. He did good in the first fight, but it was mostly offense was his defense. And from every fight that I've seen afterwards, that's kind of been the case. So I think he's just going to hope to outstrike. And he probably could, but Jones still has his kicks. He still has his knees to the body, his elbows. I think they're going to go 5 rounds again. I think it'll be a war. I think it'll be entertaining. I don't know if it'll be better than the first fight. I think it'll go to decision. I think Jones will win. I think he'll just find ways. He'll adapt as he always does, and he'll find a way to get around the boxing and kind of stifle Gus in the last 3 rounds and get a unanimous decision. I think he'll actually edge it out more convincingly this time. I guess who wants to go first on this one? Because I don't know who I've been calling on more right now. Whoever wants to go first, go right ahead.
I can go.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually probably don't give Gustafsson enough credit for the first fight. It's hard for me to even, you're probably right. I could see it going to another decision and it being a war. I see this going more like the second DC fight because Jon Jones is a lot of things. And yeah, he's a natural talent, all that. But his fight IQ is some of the best there is. He's just so stupid that we don't give him credit for it. But he's brilliant. Even in the first fight against Alexander, the way he fought in the 4th and 5th round, that's Jon Jones. And the fact he was able to do that, even though he hadn't been training, his cardio wasn't as on point, and he couldn't see out of an eye, and he had Alexander huffing and putting his hands on his hips and was coming at him, almost finished him. And for me, Gustafsson annoys me a little bit because he acts like he's been just so active here. He's barely fought more than John without any controversy. And I have not seen anything that makes me feel like Gustafsson is better from their first fight. It's like everybody made a big deal of the Glover fight, but like you said, he was running half the time, and I thought he should have finished him way earlier. And it's just, I don't see what he's improved on. Where is he better to where he's going to do better against Jon Jones? To where DC got head kicked into oblivion in the second round by this man. He's young. He's still improving. he's juiced to the gills. No, I just think Jones is too good. And he's also, he has his Twitter fingers. And when he was out on suspension, he was watching everything. He's watching every DC fight. I know he's watched every Gustafsson fight. He saw the things that DC did against Alex that was way better than what he did. Like the clinch work and stuff. He was so sloppy with it in the first fight. And I see him being pretty gnarly with it again. I think he'll do better with the leg kicks. And I think he works them and finishes them within the first 3 rounds.
Damn, so, bold pick by Ash. You think it'll be
no love for the Mauler?
I get it. You made some good points. You think it'll be like a TKO kind of grind him out, or like a more violent knockout?
Well, because another thing with Gustafsson, I question his chin now. He after that Rumble.
Yeah,
I question it. And then I also I don't know how he'll do with all this pressure. Last time he was this huge underdog. Nobody thought he was going to do well, and he showed up. But now he had one of the best fights in UFC history, and all this stuff with Jones is going on. He's talked so much crap about it, and yeah, he's made it to where there's a lot of pressure on him now too, to where I feel like if he would have played things out a little bit different, he could have been walking in here with kind of like Nunez with Ronda. The way she played it, she could have been more angry. She could have been more running her mouth, but she's just like, whatever, walked in under the radar and whooped on her. To where now he has all this extra pressure on him. I don't know how he handles that either. Because last time he had a lot of pressure on him, he got head kicked in front of his entire country. Or not head kicked, knocked out. So I don't know. There's so many question marks. And it's weird that I have more question marks about Gustafsson than I do Jones. But in the cage.
You made a good point. I mean, he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant inside the cage. But he is a goddamn moron outside of it. So
idiot. Just
yeah.
Pictogram.
Oh, that is not a good look. All right, Ashley. So finish for Ashley for John Jones. Obviously, we got Reen left. Reen, before we get into this, whatever your pick is, I just want to say thank you to John Jones for providing us some entertainment this week, but more than anything, for bringing our friendship together, because that is the whole reason of why we met at UFC 214 last year, seeing him make DC cry while he was roided to the gills. So, if for nothing else, John Jones, yes, that is
That's
true.
So cute.
If for nothing else, John Jones, you may be a piece of shit and a terrible human being, but at least I found my co-host through your antics. So, Reen, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Guess I'll say thank you for that as well, John Jones. So, other than that, yeah, I'm emotionally drained already. I made my pick based on the presser. I mean, I remember we went back and forth. I'm like, yeah, Gus's footwork, it's improved. I mean, I think he'll take this one, but with just watching this presser and everything that's been going on, like, he doesn't give a shit. Nothing phases him. And I think that confidence is just gonna, I think he's gonna probably take him to a decision. I don't know if I'm confident enough with a finish, because he starts slow. I wasn't too impressed with the previous fights he's had with Oben St. Preux and whatnot. Yeah, he was probably playing it safe. He didn't want to get hurt. It was an interim belt, whatever. But man, just everything that he's been doing and acting, like, yeah, here comes Jones. He's going to tear it up in there. So I'm kind of sad about it that I'm going with this pick, actually, because I want Gus to humble him. I want Gus to beat the shit out of him and humble him. And finally, like, maybe it'll help Jones get back to where he was, this great fighter, because he was one of my favorites. Him, Chris, DJ, those were all my top favorites. And yeah, I get so mad when it comes to Jones. And yeah, that 214 fight, that speech and everything, it really touched me, man. And then next thing you know, I got head kicked too.
I feel that so hard.
we were Ashley. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just like, Ashley, we were there in the arena. A tear might have come across my hand, and I literally stood up in a pot like, this guy, he's got it. I believed it, and I gotta give a shout out. I gotta quote my homie Ant Walker. I heard a podcast a few days following when the drug test came out that he tested positive. He was arguing with his co-host of, man, I was there, I believed it, and he said, why would you believe him? And he said, because I'm a goddamn fool, that's why. And I'm like, that's exactly what I am. That's exactly what we all were in that arena.
Yeah.
We were just fucking fools.
I was at home crying, so I can only imagine being there.
Yeah, I was a sucker, man. And that whole night was crazy, right? We were like recapping that the other day. Like Woodley was getting booed, all the cell phones were busting out, the wave going on, and all that excitement. And then Jones versus DC. It was so cool to finish. So yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with Jones by decision on this one.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm probably going to talk more shit about him after this too.
That's fair. That's how I feel. It's like we picked him, so now he can't be mad that we also talk a whole lot of shit about him. It's like we balanced it out.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Just a random thought. He had this issue with Nevada. Obviously, the whole reason why they moved the fight with the drug test, and he had that comment towards that female journalist today of basically shut the fuck up and give the mic to somebody else. And the other person who's had issues with the commission lately, Khabib, telling women to fight in their home and finish their husbands and not get into their hopes and dreams. So yeah, good stuff all around. Are
you trying to bum me out? Like, hey,
well, it is something that happened today. It is something that happened today, and yeah, just good things all around for with the biggest women's fight of all time happening right under them. Just John Jones just being a dickhead. I want to say that it's not a sexism thing, that he's just an asshole to everybody, but man, that was not a good look. And I need to find that girl's name again, who she was. I don't know if she has a Twitter account, but I'm gonna follow everything she does because she had way more balls than any motherfucker on that press conference today. So props to that girl. When I find your name, I will give you your proper credit. But thank you, whoever you were.
Yeah, seriously, she was asking all the right questions and she was getting shot down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Chris on that presser too? She looked uncomfortable right next to Jones.
I mean, what the fuck do you expect? I mean, first of all, they were asking her and Nunes next to no questions. And, it's just like, motherfucker, I had all my plans. Why am I here? Yes, I think the only silver lining she had is, well, at least it's a 20-minute drive for me, since I live here. But Jesus Christ, like what did I do to deserve this, And probably that too, seeing that him shoot that poor girl down. It's like,
at the same time though, that girl asked some dumb questions. The Cyborg one I thought was the weirdest. When she's all like, "Oh, you have no energy in your face," and Cyborg is like, "I have energy." Like, what? Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, the reason I give that girl credit is that it's something that I tweeted earlier this week. I actually got a lot of reactions to it, so thank you for everyone that retweeted it and stuff. But is what I said is like, all you journalists, all you motherfuckers, you need to hound Dana and Jones. And I knew it was going to come off redundant, and I knew they weren't going to look good. But the point was to make John and Dana and the people in charge look dumb and irritated. And
she did that.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted. It's not just like, oh, I want that for myself. It's that's what a journalist should do. You're not supposed to be coddling them and doing the, typical, oh, how are you guys feeling and how did training camp go and all that type of bullshit. Not when this type of thing is on the table.
It's too bad she's probably banned forever now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? She probably is.
But she's got my respect, and that matters more in my heart.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pretty much said, like, it's not about you, John. What about the other fighters?
Yeah, especially that I think she was Swedish too. So to her, it's like, man, I gotta get my boy Alex. Like, they're fucking this dude over. I can't stay quiet. That's my countryman right there. He's my fellow Viking. So yeah. Okay, so one last bit of news. I mean, I think we touched on John Jones, USADA drug testing, dick pills, whatever you want to say about this enough. But there's one other thing that's happening this weekend. Well, kind of, I guess. Floyd Mayweather's finally going to fight Tenshin Nasukawa. From everything that we see, I'm sure there's going to be issues with the gloves, as is always a Mayweather staple. Last minute, I don't like the gloves, change them or I'll sue you. Or they're made of horsehair, and I don't like the Mexicans, so I don't want those fucking gloves either. Whatever's happening, I don't know. But the weird thing that I guess it's news, non-news, I don't know. But apparently this fight's not going to be shown in North America for whatever reason. I don't understand how a guy like Mayweather, who makes as much money as he does, who gets paid as much as he does, who is supposed to be making more than $80 million for this fight. I don't know if most of that had to do with pay-per-view buys or if it's a straight up upfront purse. I don't know what this is about, but I just find it really weird that as of right now, there's no information of it being shown statewide. And it's just got me thinking all kinds of conspiracy theories of what can happen. The fact that it's an exhibition, it's 3 rounds, no judges, doesn't count on their records, basically not going to be shown. I don't know. I don't know where this is going, but I just have weird feelings. Reen, let's talk about your birthplace. What do you think's happening here? What are the Japanese up to right now?
In my defense, I'm Okinawan, not Japanese.
Yes, I know you are, Reen. For sake of argument, we got to go there.
Yeah, I don't know. You would think it would be an advantage if they do show it to the world. So I'm not sure why they're just containing it, within Japan. Like, why? Then why would you even throw this fight or exhibition?
Am I going to tinfoil hat on this to say that I feel that Mayweather either has a fear that he might lose, or they might actually, I'm going to say it, that they might actually rig it, that, they might put it in the cards for Tenshin, at least to make it competitive, and it wouldn't be a good look to see it. Or I don't know, or maybe it's just something as simple that it's going to happen in the middle of the night over here, no one's going to watch it.
No, really people will watch that. If it's a Floyd thing, they will, right? I would watch it just to see what's going on. I want to see if he throws a head kick or something, if something just slips, because you know how Japanese people are, the pride. You can't come to our house and
make the rules.
Make the rules, show us up. No. So I don't know if it's because of that. Something might happen that's outside the contract. They might not follow the contract rules, and they don't want Floyd looking like a fool. I mean, you're in Japan. Anything can happen. Regardless
Maybe
of
just him being cautious, I guess.
Yeah, regardless of lawsuits and whoever, or depending on who you're dealing with, you just never know how deep it goes. Like, I just wonder what's going on with it. It's just all fishy to me. Like you said, like the conspiracy theory, like that whole thing comes up.
Ashley, I know we kind of talked off air. You said you weren't too familiar with it, but from the little that you know, I'm actually kind of interested. Someone who's not too familiar with the situation, of what your thoughts are on this, the fight in general, and of them not showing it.
It is weird that they're not showing it here, like with how huge Floyd is here. And I mean, I'm not a huge into the boxing. I try to watch bigger fights, but even like I haven't seen anything about it on my feed. I know Twitter's stupid, and it's probably only showing me Jones stuff, but it's I just feel like it's weird that you're hearing so little about it too, because it's Floyd. It's usually a circus. So I don't know. I do think it's really odd. You'd think that they would, want to make money off of it here, and then and would want to get the eyes that Floyd could bring. But I can see your whole conspiracy theory thing, because that would make sense if it was going to be fixed or thrown and whatever, why they're not going to push it too hard, because that's just extra eyes to call them out on it.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. It's I know it's out there, and I don't base it on much, but it just screams weird to me. And the only times I remember this, I was too young. When Tyson was knocked out by Douglas, that happened in Japan, and I don't think that one was on pay-per-view. And the only other fight that I've heard, I was alive during this time, but I was too young to remember it, was was Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Julio Cesar Chavez, I believe the first time. It was like on closed circuit TV. Like you couldn't order the pay-per-view. You had to go to certain places and see it. I think that fight was probably just because it was so big. This one obviously isn't that big because nobody knows who Tenshin Nasukawa is aside from hardcore kickboxing and MMA fans. But I don't know. It just screams weird to me. Floyd will never seem like the kind of guy. I don't think it's in his character to leave money on the table, and that's what I find the most suspicious. Like, there's got to be a reason behind it. You're not just doing this to be generous or to be humble, I guess.
Yeah, New Year's is a huge celebration for us in Japan too. So, like, I don't understand why it's not being shown by the world. Like, what's going on here?
That's another quick question I want to have with the Japanese and New Year's. Is it so? It is a cultural thing. So like the fight thing, it wasn't just like, hey, let's have fights on New Year's Eve. It was like, well, this is a big. Similarly, I guess how Mexicans have Cinco de Mayo, how we always have a big boxing match during that weekend. That's kind of how you guys do it for New Year's. Like that's like one of the biggest holidays over there.
Yeah, it's a huge holiday for us. Sometimes it spans out all the way like 7 days out. So January 1st till the 7th. It's a huge celebration. Wow. Families get together. Kids are getting money. Man, I used to make bank as a kid.
That's really interesting.
Relatives were like visiting family, it's huge. So there's always some kind of entertainment going on.
That's
and
crazy.
This is a great time to make your mark and get all eyes on RIZIN or whatever you're trying to promote. So I don't understand why they're keeping it hidden.
Damn. Okay, yeah, well, at least I got informed of something right there. I've always wondered about that with the Japanese. So, all right, that's cool. I learned something. All right, so I guess we'll call it a night. We'll wrap this thing up. So, Ashley, first and foremost, again, want to thank you. I'm very honored you to come on. I hope this helps you as much as it helps us. Plug your stuff, plug your podcast, your Twitter, whatever you want to do.
All right. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at the MMA Nerd. Ashley, the MMA Nerd, will usually pull me up too. I do my show before every UFC event. I usually will release it the Wednesday night before. And yeah, I mean, that's my whole pitch. Thank you for having me on. I was so nervous. And yeah, it was a really fun first guest experience. So thank you guys.
No reason to be nervous. And you were our first guest host, so I thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, it was a new experience for us too, but it seemed like we got along well. So again, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Reen, I'll let you plug your stuff. Where are you at again?
Fox with you on Twitter. I should use my Instagram more, but yeah, Fox with you on Twitter. I've been actually tweeting a lot more lately. I know I've been MIA, but I'm trying to keep track of everybody and see what's going on with the Twitter world. So Thank you very much for everybody's support, and also wanted to give a shout out to Nemesis. He's always listening to us. So
yes, he's a big fan.
Bro? Thank you for the support.
Yes, thank you, man. Yeah, good point. I try and DM him here and there, but yeah, definitely deserves a shout out on the podcast. Thank you, Reen. And you can find me always on Twitter, Juice_MMA. And as always, if you haven't given the podcast Twitter account of like or follow, go ahead at iFox with Juice. This is basically the last show of the year, it seems like. So happy New Year to everybody. It's been a crazy ride. You can expect 2019. You'll see more of us, a better us, and more guests. Hopefully Ashley will come on more people will come on, and yeah, Ashley's welcome anytime. We'll see who else we get on, and just bigger and better things. Thank you guys for listening. Happy New Year. Hope you guys enjoyed the holidays, and we'll catch you next week. Later.
Bye.